specific examples of data assistance improvement program through information sharing. To tie my reading of this book to all the information sharing now, with, and that is what keeps me up at night, is terrorism or other types of attacks. If you think of any sort of terrorist attack or any natural disaster, if we don't have secure information sharing, which we need, and as you've heard just now, the importance of all of our citizens, if they take down our information structure and our portals, it will create just more havoc. So we need to have very secure information sharing. Now we'll open up for questions. I'll take it.
We have someone running. Or Ira running.
And to Donna's slide, there's a 1, 2, 3 to get into the data. That's sharing, secure sharing data. I'm wondering if anything 4, 5, 6 that carry through all the life cycle of the data. Once the data leave the system, go to their destination, then eventually die, agrees for death? Any?
Yeah, so there probably is a 4, 5, 6 through 20, right? So, I mean, there's a lot of steps for information as it leaves your system. I think that, so it makes it much more important for us to talk about a few things. When I talked probably a couple of years ago about cloud computing, when it started sort of coming around as the biggest next best thing since sliced bread, we talk a lot more about what I say is data independence and sort of packaging things with our data as it moves. So packaging security, privacy, tags, packaging retention, and sort of disposal instructions with your data. And I think we need to get a lot smarter about sort of packaging information with our data as it moves so that we can take care of steps 4 through 20, which really is, what can you do with this data? When do you need to get rid of it off of your systems? And how to sort of appropriately take care of that data. And so I think the 3 things that are missing, or sort of the 3 practices we need to strengthen, not missing. We need to strengthen in the federal government today in order to sort of enable secure information sharing. One of them is just good data management, right? So we all have data management programs that could get better. Another one is information architecture and understanding, for example, disaster assistance improvement program. They lay over about 60 forms that one could fill out during a disaster. And being able to understand those forms, they are able to say, let's take a sort of a tax cut sort of approach to asking you questions and getting you to the right forms instead of relying on the citizen to be able to do that. So understanding your information architecture it is really sort of critical. And the one that we don't talk about much is that knowledge strategy and that knowledge management strategy and understanding how we harness knowledge, how we dispose of knowledge, how we take care of knowledge. And I think it's those 3 practices that we need to strengthen in order to get information sharing much more secure and much more protected. Does that answer?
So, since everybody's shy, and I'm not, I'll add to what Donna was saying. If you envision, what she just described, and having data attributes actually resident with a data store, then you can easily see where the development of services to more adequately manage that data could be developed, because now you've got the data telling you what you can do with it itself. And so the services then become very much much clearer, because right now you've got all of these services where people are trying to do different types of secure authentications, non-repudiation type activities, et cetera, et cetera. And so, if you tag the data, as Donna described, then now you've got an opportunity to operate in a service-oriented way a little bit more effectively. And then those services can then be more generic because the attributes are with the data. And now you can develop those services one time and share them multiple times. And so there's an advantage there as well.
So one of the things that I wanted to ask was, how do we inform, and this is really loud, isn't it? Wow.
You're doing good.
That's all right, I'm old.
is how do we properly inform both our business areas to think strategically about information sharing so that we begin to identify those areas where they might want to collect data and share data with other enterprises, and also inform our IT strategy so that we architect things correctly. Because one of the things that we're looking at is sharing information between a lot of the federal financial regulatory institutions. We talk all the time, and what we have in many cases now is we're authenticating to each other's systems. We're looking at sharing the information, but if we don't build the information systems correctly, then we essentially hamstring ourselves from being able to share things to the extent that we would like to. And to be able to do that, you have to kind of get that into the CIO's strategy for how we architect networks and think about data exchange. I mean, it's more than just XML, right? It's deciding which of those things you're going to stick on your perimeter and share with other agencies and which things you want to kind of keep close inside. I guess I'm just trying to figure out do you have any ideas on how we kind of inform them so that that becomes both a business strategy as well as an IT strategy?
Brian, I'll start with have a real enterprise architecture. Now, with FEMA, our framework is 7 domains. And many of you have seen the slides I've had on our framework. The foundation of our enterprise architecture is the business. It's the mission, the goals, the objectives of the organization. The data, the information, the applications, the services, the infrastructure, and security. Each of those 7 domains are full documented architectures, baseline target. You have to connect the dots. You have to show the relationships between each of those 7 domains. So you have a change in one, how does it affect everything else? So basically you have to have an organization that believes in enterprise architecture, that will develop an architecture fully, and it's not easy. We at DHS are doing that, and you know, and it takes a lot of time with our partners, and it's not an easy endeavor, but you have to do that. I just want to add in something that John said earlier this morning. My definition of enterprise architecture, my elevator speech, is basically providing the right information to the right person at the right time to make informed business and mission decisions. And there was others who said that also yesterday, very close to what I was saying. That's what it's all about. It's all about the information. Most people, like Bob, don't care about the infrastructure when he was filling out his claim. All he wants is get the information and get the results from that. That's what it's all about. But it starts with a very functional organization that really is focusing on enterprise architecture. Then you bring it to put all the information together.
And I'd like to just add, it is all about the data. So one of the early information sharing initiatives, even though they didn't understand it was information sharing, was just understanding the data in the Department of Homeland Security. So cataloging and understanding what we have and exposing that to the business units. And so one of the early things we did in my first year was, well, we started cataloging the data, but then we held these workshops with practitioners. So we brought a sort of law enforcement professionals, investigative, gun-toting people into the room and talked very nicely to them. We're about 40 of them together across DHS, and we asked them,